very active person. But he's a very active
Please
person.
go ahead, sir.
And he's been an inspiration to all youngsters, and for anything and everything, knowledge wise and even physics, he will act like a 25-year-old man. And that's how he's been there. And whenever he wants to come, he will come and do whatever he can, he will do it. So such a nice person. We call him as encyclopedia. You speak on any subject, he will talk, irrespective
Yes.
of the subject.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so as it's 4:30, I think we can start our session. I'm just going to admit everybody who's in the waiting room, and then okay. So a very good evening and a warm welcome to all of you who have joined with us this evening to listen to Dr. Vidya Shankar, Orbit and Oculoplasty Specialist, on mucormycosis, myths, facts, and role of optometrists. So before we formally begin the session, just a few housekeeping announcements, which is that I request all of you to keep your mics on mute. And if your internet connection is unstable, you can keep your videos off as well. And we have our Joint Secretary, Mr. Samuel, who will moderate the session for us, who will take up the questions that you put in the chat box when the session is being conducted. You can keep typing your questions in the chat. And as you would have heard, Tamil, English, rendleme neenga questions kekla. Nama and the questions edutittu Dr. Vidya Shankar sir will answer. And we have our Vice President, Mr. Shanmuga Kumar sir, with us, who is part of this committee, who will deliver the vote of thanks. Welcome our Executive Committee core member, Mrs. Sharanya Madam, who will formally deliver the welcome address, and all the other OAT and co-committee members who are present with us today. So I'm sure that all of you must have heard about the sort of this deep grief of our Vice President, Mrs. Preeta Ram Prasad, who's lost her family members very recently. So before we start the session, our committee decided that our association observes a few moments of silence to honor this deep loss. So this is Preeta's family, Mr. Sampath and Mrs. Nirmala Sampath, Preeta's parents. And this is Preeta's younger sister, Priyanka, with her 3-year-old daughter in here, Preeta's mother. So during the last week of April and the first week of May, like they got diagnosed with COVID and then they got admitted. And during this third week of May, beginning from May 21st to 24th, we started to hear news of them leaving us. And after their loss only, we got to know about how much Preeta's family actually have been contributing to the society, to the extent that the place that Preeta's father and mother belongs to, their native, திருவண்ணாமலை மாவட்டத்துல அந்த வெண்பாக்கம் அப்படின்ற அந்த கிராமத்துல தான் வந்து அவங்க அப்பா அப்கோர்ஸ் அவருக்கு வந்து he has a large land அதுல ஃபார்ம் பண்ணியிருந்திருக்காங்க. ஸோ அவங்க இறந்த உடனே வந்து அவருடைய அந்த ஃபேமிலியோட லாஸை முன்னிட்டு அவங்க வீட்டுல வந்து இந்த மாதிரி ஆனர் பண்றதோட மட்டும் இல்லாம மெழுகுவர்த்தி ஏத்தி வச்சு பாத்தீங்கன்னா மக்கள் சமூக இடைவெளியை கடைபிடிச்சு அஞ்சலி செலுத்தியிருக்காங்க. அதே மாதிரி தண்ணி இந்த சமயத்துல தண்ணி ரொம்ப கஷ்டமா இருந்த போது எல்லாருக்குமே வந்து தண்ணி வசதியும் செஞ்சு கொடுத்து ஒரு பெரிய அளவுல இந்த லாஸை வந்து அவங்க ஹானர் பண்ணியிருக்காங்க. சோ அவங்க தொடர்ந்து இது வந்து பிரீதாவோட பேரண்ட்ஸ் நிறைய இந்த கிராமத்துக்கு நிறைய செஞ்சுட்டு வந்திருக்காங்க. அதுதான் கிராமத்து மக்கள் இப்ப திருப்பி வந்து அவங்களை நினைவு கூறுறது மூலமா, அஞ்சலி செலுத்துறது மூலமா அவங்களோட இழப்பை வந்து நம்ம ஞாபகப்படுத்தி அவங்களுடைய ஆன்மா சாந்தி அடையறதுக்காக நம்ம எல்லாம் ப்ரே பண்ணணும் அப்படிங்கிறதுக்காகவும், அஃப்கோர்ஸ் எனி லாஸ், நம்மளுடைய இவ்வளவு க்ளோஸான பிரீதா இப்ப நம்மளோட இருக்காங்க. பட் நான் பிரீதாட்ட கேட்டேன், அவங்க இப்ப பேசுற நிலைமையில இல்ல. ஸோ பிரீதா நம்ம பேசுறதையும் நம்ம நம்மளுடைய இந்த ஹானரிங்கே ஏத்துக்கிறாங்க. பட் as you know, இந்த மாதிரி இழப்பெல்லாம் வந்து நம்ம கண்டோலன்ஸ் மீட்டிங்ல இல்ல ஜஸ்ட் ஒரு நினைவு கூறுறது மூலமா சரி கட்ட முடியிற விஷயம் கிடையாது. எவ்ரிடே இந்த அவங்க நினைவு நம்மளோட இருந்துட்டே வரும். அதுதான் that's the way that we can honor them. So all I want to say is that in our hearts you hold a place no one else will ever fill. And I take this opportunity on behalf of the committee to request all of you to observe 2 minutes silence to honor the loss of this family, and also to provide enormous amount of strength to bear this loss and to move forward with the support and the guidance from the Almighty. So let's observe 2 minutes of silence. Thank you, everybody. So, Preeta, all I want to tell you on behalf of the committee is that we are there with you. So that's the only thing that I can say. So with that, I now request Mrs. Sharanya to formally introduce our chief guest for the day who's going to be delivering the lecture. Over to you, ma'am.
Hi, thank you. Dr. Vidya Shankar, it gives me immense pleasure to invite you to the OATN platform. A little about Dr. Vidya Shankar that I am very proud to say is he is an optometrist first before he is an ophthalmologist. He is our very own Dr. KK's batchmate. Dr. Vidya Shankar, after completing his optometry, did his MBBS from MGM Hospital at Navi Mumbai, and post-graduation from Lokmanya Tilak Medical College in Mumbai as well. He also has done his fellowship in oculoplasty, orbit, and oncology from Shankar Nethralaya. He has close to about 18 to 20 years of experience, and he's performed in number of surgeries. I don't want to put a number on it. It's more than 10,000 at the moment. He is very, very proficient in facial aesthetics, cosmetic surgeries, and ocular oncology is his special interest. And that is basically the management of all the cancers in the eye, the orbit, the lids, and the face. Dr. Shankar has been an invited speaker for a lot of national and international conferences and postgraduate training programs. He has a number of publications in peer-reviewed scientific journals, and he has also contributed chapters in medical textbooks. He has also been a trainer and trained several fellows in oculoplasty, orbit, and ocular oncology under him. It gives us great pleasure to have you here, sir, to deliver the talk on mucormycosis. Incidentally, his wife is also an ophthalmologist who specializes in pediatric and binocular vision. So thank you so much for accepting our invitation and joining us and delivering this talk on mucormycosis. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharanya. Thank you, Rizwana.
Yes, sir.
Is it coming on? Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can go to slideshow.
Okay. Yeah, it's done?
Yeah.
All right. So this basically, what is this black fungus? Since the last month or so, everywhere in India, you find this something black coming up every now and then on the screens of your TV. Well, all that is glitters is not gold, is one of the sayings that we used to be told. But everything that is black is also non-black fungus. Why I put this slide very specifically is because of a lot of media being put in the media about this black fungus. Karuppa theriyirudhu, something on the face, moonjila, kannila, kadula, mookula, and so much amount of hype on this that people were really worried. எனக்கு வந்துருதா, எனக்கு வரதுக்கு சான்ஸ் இருக்கா, ராத்திரி கொஞ்சம் கண்ணு வலிச்சதுனா கூட rush to the hospital or rush to their nearest physician. Physicians irkara illiya, are they practicing or not? So much is there, and whenever you go out, velila ponake there is chances of infection irundhudu. Till some time back, 2 மாசம் முன்னாடி Maharashtra and Bombay la ekkachakama cases vandundhudu. The same thing. Hopefully Tamil Nadu in the peak it has peaked and it has started coming down, hopefully. So in the black fungus irukradnala, how much is it? How difficult is it for treatment? So there have been a lot of people who are coming in, talking in televisions, experts having their webinars. So webinars and TVs and the experts have been coming and the black fungus patti solranga. How difficult it has been. Yes, the confirmed news is it is difficult. It is a difficult situation because Tamilta and the medicines are not sufficient. Nariya quantity illa. So adinala the problem is triage. Triage na idu black fungus illiya, idukku kavala padanuma padavendama. That is what we are basically looking at. In the 3 pictures, idinala potuken, the small boy with that small thing on the left lid, on the lower left lid. So idellam black fungus. Black fungus irkalam, irkarthukkum vaaipu illa. So these questions are there. There's a doctors evla confused aralo, adukku so much more patients get confused. So in the situations it has been in the lid for a very long time. But the people have noticed it. And ipo ellame black sonnake konjam idu mole irundna kuda people are running to the doctor. Idu black fungus aanu. Many times kannla vandu or slight amount of a swelling irukum. And the swelling pathake black fungus inga parungo. This is a bilateral thing, which is there is something black on the lower lid, on the inside of the lower lid. So is this black fungus? Maybe, may not be. So yes, it is important for diagnosis. It is important for us to try and look at it more carefully. Probably may have to do a biopsy and things like that. But is it, how are we justified? Are we justified enough that we need to run to the doctor immediately, or we can wait? The basic seminar idinala to reduce the fear factor kammi pannake konjam Monday will start thinking in normal terms, will start thinking in the right terms. Namle ivla confused arundonna, then we only try and give more confusion to the doctor. Namla ivla if we start questioning ourselves and questioning everyone around us, that nee paathirundiya inda kannla in the black node paathirundiya munadi illiya illanaka odane do we need to run to the doctor? Yes, there are so many questions. So basically today we have come together in order to try and see what are cases which we may have to suspect black fungus, and where we can just sit at home quietly and try and evaluate ourselves properly. All of this, none of this are black fungus, none of it. All that is black and all that has been there around need not be. It can be very more ominous. If the last 2 pictures there, these are cancer patients. So it's not necessary, and these cancer patients have been there. These conditions have been there. Even this black fungus, for example, we have been treating mucormycosis in so many years, so many decades. Mucormycosis has been there. Mucor is something which is normally there in the nose. It is not something new. Yes, the TV people have understood it is new, because instead of mucormycosis, there used to be so many names put to this: mucormyosis, mucormiasis, name it and it will come. So it is new only to the people on media, but not to us. We have been treating mucormycosis and have been treating mucormycosis very well. But yes, here mucormycosis is coming in a galloping horse. That is where the problem is. But if we are able to take home the proper message that everything which is black is not fungus, I think the need for this seminar has been justified. Earlier, what are the basic typical early symptoms? These symptoms are மூக்கு அடைச்சிருக்கிறது மாதிரி, nasal congestion, மூக்குலேருந்து சொட்டிண்டே இருக்கும், தண்ணி சொட்டிண்டே இருக்கும், post nasal drip, படுத்துண்டாக்கியே பின்னாடி தொண்டையில போறதுனால coughing, patient gets up, ராத்திரி எழுந்திருப்பா cough பண்ணிட்டு எழுந்திருப்பாங்க, because that's called as a post nasal drip. When they blow into the kerchief or into the tissue, then they have got some black thing coming on the tissue. So that is blood tinge or purulent rhinorrhea. Sometimes you will even see black crusts coming out into the kerchiefs. Inga press pannaka, if you are having pain, that is called as sinus tenderness. Adnal tenderness, if you are going to really jab inside, you will get pain. So don't try and do all this at home and try and see whether there is pain or not. Konjam thottakke vali irukkum. That is what is tenderness. Talavali karada, fever irka, dental problems. Because ipo COVID nalla ellarume konjam bayapadranga doctor paarkradhukku. So because of which you kekrangale COVID, the servant itself asked me, avangale kekranga, munadi ellam COVID matruma irundhathu, munadi people were dying of heart attack, diabetes, other problems ella irunda, ipo thurume illiye, doctors don't see any of them, they are seeing only COVID. So where have all that gone? It is not that it has gone anywhere. People are only trying to ignore those, and it is being put on the back burner. Adella now, see, after this COVID thing settles down, no, we are going to have a lot of problem with all the other diseases because they have all been neglected. So on the neglect pannama, we have to get all them done properly. So one of them is dental problems. If they had pallu valikirudhu, pallu valichithu, if you go to the doctor and if they can check it up, there can be a black fungus there also. So basically, where does this black fungus live? Basic black fungus lives in the mouth and in the nose. So these are the normal sites of the black fungus, any fungus for that matter. So all these things which are there, for example, this lady, she has been having a mask for 1 year now. She's a servant who works. So she has been having this, and she later she told me that she has some dental problems, probably pulse either decay ayirka. So in such cases, there are these spots. So these spots are not caries. These spots are small nidus of the fungus over there. This fungus, what it unfortunately does is it destroys the tissue. It will destroy the teeth, it will destroy the gums, it will destroy the bone, wherever it is, by contiguity. All that parts become a problem. And then from there, it will go into the sinuses and then go into the eye. How much time does it take? It does not take time. Normally, mucormycosis that we have seen pre-COVID era, it takes around a week to 10 days. And they, for it to start going from the mouth and nose and to the orbit. And very often, we are able to treat it completely. But here, for example, this man who was there, in the morning, he came like this, and in the evening, he came back like this. This, in a very few hours itself, both these, the lady as well as the gentleman, both of them have had such a jump in the disease in a few hours that it rings warning bells. Is it something? It could be just some preseptal cellulitis, some infection over there. But on the infection problem, or is it mucormycosis? That is something that we need to know. We need to go back on history. We need to know if the patient has had diabetes, has had COVID, has had dexamethasone, has had any of the immunomodulators. Anything which suppresses immunity can give rise to the pre-existing mucor in the nose and the mouth to get into the sinuses and orbits and the brain. It doesn't take time. It just takes a few hours. And we would need to probably jump in and start with IV injections. But unfortunately, now it has come to a stage that we are not getting sufficient amount of the wonder drugs. So we have to make do with alternative drugs, which is not the scope of today's talk. For example, this person, he came like this, and within a day, within 2 days, he came back like this with amount of proptosis. Proptosis na the kannu konjam velila varudhu, and the congestion. Why does proptosis occur? Some of the other symptoms are paralysis. Paralysis na what we I don't know the Tamil equivalent for that, but he is not able to lift the lid. The right lid has gone into a closure of the eye, and he does not have control of that lid. So kannu sometimes does not move. I'll show you this video later on, where the eyes don't move. The lid drops down. There is loss of vision. And when there is going to be involvement of the brain badhikapattuduna, then you will start having changes in the mental health, the mental status, cerebration. So that becomes a problem. Patient is not coherent. Patient may lose consciousness. And later on, he might also have paralysis, hemiparesis, or paralysis of one side of the body, and may have even meningeal signs like seizures. So that means that it is going to be, it has left the orbit and has gone into the brain. Frozen orbit, when you see the central picture, in the left lid is down. It's being held up by the finger. But right, left, that eye does not move at all. When the eye does not move, then that means that all the nerves which is supplying the muscles, and the muscle supply point of the nerves, it's not, that's why the eye is not moving at all. And once the eyes are not moving, then the person will start having double vision also, because oru kannu inda pakkam paathaaka oru inda kannu move aagudhu, inda kannu move aagudilla. So they are looking at two directions, and they are getting different images. Diplopia irukum, confusion irukum. So all of this becomes a problem. So eye and nose are the primary areas where the mucor resides. Once it leaves this place because of bad oral hygiene, neglected oral hygiene, bad nasal hygiene, and there's something what we call as innate immunity. All of us have body shakti that we try and control the invasion of disease. Disease varama that the internal strength we have, that is what we call as innate immunity. Innate immunity in the nose, in the mouth, is by the oral and the nasal mucosa. In the beginning, when people were saying gargle and do steam inhalation, people have been misusing it, gargling with very high temperature water, the steam inhalation with very high temperature steam. What it does, it destroys the nasal and the oral mucosa. Oral and nasal mucosa stronger, then the fungus doesn't go through. But we have the habit of overdoing. 10 times a day, gargle. Every hour you go and gargle or do steam inhalation. The disease. That is what we used to do. So that is more of a wrong habit that has happened, because of which the innate immunity is lost, and then the fungus goes from the mouth and the nose and it goes into the orbit. For example, if this black ball is the black fungus in the orbit, which is a box. So when this fungus becomes large, then the eye starts coming forward. Once it is large enough, then it even starts opening up. It goes through the nose. It may open up the ceiling. The ceiling of the orbit is the brain. The brain lies over there. So it goes into the brain and can go into the nose and things like that. And the eye is luxated out. There a whole lot of problems starts occurring to the eye because of the distension of the optic nerve. Nerve has been pulled to an extent that kannoda parvai poitrudhu. We are not able to keep the eye closed. All of this becomes a problem once the mucor has become invasive and has gone into the nose and into the brain. Okay, so this is where we as optometrists needs have got a thing to play. Look, like all of us have been taught, the vision is paramount important. Vision la konjam kuda changes irundna, you have to go and see an ophthalmologist, because it definitely does. And before we look at the vision, the color vision. The color vision is the first thing that goes because of optic nerve compression or any optic nerve cause. So color patrungo at home, you have like how we do for thyroid patients. All of us need to have, not all of us, people who need to check their color vision need to have 2 or 3 fixed objects. Don't change the objects and different colors. Look at them individually with each eyes. Look at which eye the red or green or blue is more prominent. Note it down and keep. Each one will have a different thing. If there is going to be a change in the color perception, then yes, then you need to get to the optometrist or the ophthalmologist. Pupillary reactions, all of us need to look at. Intraocular pressure, all of this you need to check and look very critically at the fundus. All of us, if we look very closely at the cup rim, when the blood vessels are just coming out of the cup and going on the rim, at that bend, you generally see spontaneous venous pulsations. When these pulsations, which were present before, have been lost now, then you need to jump in and probably think that there is a problem there. CRAO, that is arterial occlusions, venous occlusions, all of these have been seen as complications of mucor. Complications is a sequelae, probably the word complication is not the correct term. So idellam paakkarcha, then we know that probably we are dealing with something which is more ominous. Okay, so if even as optometrists, what prevents you from asking to, but of course, be careful that you are, because now you would need to probably take off the mask of the patient, maintain your distance, keep a shield. Best would be to do an endoscope, but that is not going to be, it's not going to be possible. So look at the nose, try and see if there is any eschar or a black area over there. These are basically dead, devitalized tissues of the mucor. And whether that you are seeing there, that will also tell you whether there is going to be, what is the chances of it being mucor and how much is it there, how much chances are there. So when we are looking at the mechanism of spread, basically it starts in the nose and in the mouth and maxillary sinus. It spreads to the other sinuses, sphenoids and ethmoids. Then through the lamina papyracea and the middle or ethmoidal sinuses, it has got into the orbit. Once it has got into the orbit, then it starts involving the various tissues in the orbit. The recti, the medial recti is naturally the the muscle which is closest to the nose. So the medial rectus is going to be involved. And then finally, the optic nerve and the orbital apex. So once all of this has started, then you will have discomfort and chemosis and proptosis, diplopia, going on to arterial occlusions, could be retinal artery or could be ophthalmic artery. And then it goes intracranial and giving rise to the various complications of the meningeal signs as well as the actual pachymeningitis and the involvement of the brain. So this is how it generally spreads. And the treatments are generally by the amphotericin B, the liposomal amphotericin B, because it has got lesser side effects. And once you have the amphotericin B, you can give it, but now the problem is you don't have sufficient amount of amphotericin. So then that's where, so we have also tried to, whatever ampho we have, we try and conserve it and give it intra-orbital ampho is something that we give. And even now we have started keeping even packs of ampho in the nose, which is not you don't require the whole vial for that. So this is early on, if there is a debridement done and if the orbit is not involved, then douching and keeping a pack in the nose, which is with amphotericin B, has started yielding some good results. So that is something that I want to share. And along with this, we also give the retrobulbar, TRAMB, which is transcutaneous ampho, which is retroorbital. So this type of an injection also is something that we have started giving. Lot of other materials, or lot of other oral drugs are also there, which are posaconazole. But the problem which has happened before is all patients are Google savvy. We are all isolated. Home quarantine, TV but TV the doctor chalranga, digital time also you need to reduce and things like that. So the next best thing is your mobile. So you go, Google is the best doctor, which many people believe. And and also your friends, next door neighbor, COVID vandirundhathu, what are the various medicines that he took? Chalo, I'm having fever today, so nanu start pannindrene. That type self-medication. Self-medication is something that we all need to avoid. We should not be doing that, because what medicines have been given to them is probably what they require. We might not be in a position which will require it. So, a lot of oral Visalones and all these are steroids. So steroids, it reduces the immunity in so many respects. So that is something that we should not. Please, the thing is, don't start self-medicating. Go to your doctor, believe in the doctor. Despite all the problems which the doctor are facing, they are still coming out into their clinics and going elsewhere and trying to treat patients. Go to them, and you have a lot of people doing even video consultations. So go to them, take the proper evaluation and take the treatment. Home medication in isolation is not going to help. All that has only, on retrospect, when we see that, we try and find out, and we are doing studies also to see how many of them are home quarantine, how many of them have been doing home treatment. Home remedies is different, but treating with allopathic drugs without a proper consultation is something which we should not be doing, because it is not going to help. And Adinaliye, we have been and we don't want to tell the doctor that we have taken. So in the DECA and all these amnacartals and all the possible steroids which have been taken has been brushed below the carpet, has not been told also. And as a result of which, immunity coming on, there has been a big exodus of mucor. So mucor basically comes because of a loss of immunity. The loss of immunity can be because of steroids, which maybe people are taking for their cardiac and renal and other cancer issues. But Even the other drugs like posaconazole and others can also reduce immunity to a very great extent. So only under supervision and under doctor's advice should these medicines be given, because these are oral medicines. IV podnona vertical podamata, nobody will do it. But oral medicines, chalta hai. That attitude that nothing will happen to me. Something that has given rise to a lot of problems. So that is what I want to basically tell you. And if it comes to a situation that the eye has to be removed and the eye and the other ocular tissues probably may have to be removed, then we may have to do a procedure like exenteration. But exenteration is not being done for the saving the eye or not saving the eye. It is done. It's being done to reduce the amount of fungal load, to prevent it from getting into the brain, and thereby trying to save the patient. Patient illana kannu or the இடத்துல cosmetic irundaka illataka enna. So it comes to that. We also would not jump into exenteration. We will try as oculoplastic surgeons to try and keep the eye so that the cosmesis is been maintained for a long time. But if it is coming to a situation where nammalukku kanna edukama treatment may not be possible, then yes, we may have to do that. And this is this where we give the injection. We are giving it into the lesion, into the area where the fungus or where the lesion is present. And and before we do any of this, we have to have an endoscopic debridement, systemic amphotericin, and strict diabetic control. But when we have these are the various things. Exenteration is basically in order to remove necrotic material, to prevent the orbital apex being involved, to prevent it from, or to try and reduce the intracranial spread of the disease, and to and most of the time in such cases the globe is already eaten away half. So in such cases, to take it off completely. So all of this. So this lady we have exentered. This was the lady which it was there in the first wave, but now she is there. If you see this, there's not too much of a change in the face. She has got back her original face. Yes, it is spectacle mounted processes could be there, silicone processes could be there. So they are being done basically with aim to give the best of cosmesis. So it is not and that is where the optometrists, I'm so thankful that despite all the contortions of the face and things like that, the optometrists and the ocularists are able to give such wonderful results. It is very creditable for all of them to help the ophthalmologists and the surgeons to get back the face of the patient, which they so much desire to look at every day. So basic now people say about the third wave pediatric, the virus is something that only can live in living tissues. It will not kill the host. It will not kill the host left to itself. But until it finds a proper host, everyone is going to have a problem. So when we say about this, with so much amount of vaccination and all being done for senior citizens, and then from 18 onwards and things like that, the most vulnerable are children. But fortunately, the children's, they have such a good immunity that nothing will happen to them. Most of them will go unscathed. But the problem is they will be silent carriers. So when they are silent carriers, they can infect the non-vaccinated people to an extent that they may have to be hospitalized and probably they may be serious. So the only way forward is to vaccinate the seniors, vaccinate everyone above 18 years of age, and at the same time keep our children till a vaccine or something comes up for the child, to keep them safe. And they have done wonders actually. Nanu and our wife, we go to the clinic and going outside and things like that. So much of a relaxation for us. but I'm sure this must be a situation in everybody's house, that the child is only at home locked up. But look at them, they are also trying to be as responsible citizens of this country by being at home and not trying to reinfect. So we have to keep them indoors, not only for themselves, but also for the elderly people at home, because they can be silent carriers. So the role of optometrists, as we would want to know, they have always been the front line. Whenever it comes to any eye-related problem, they are the first point of contact. And this first point of contact is a formidable point of contact, because I'm quite sure that the optometrists are very, very capable of identifying the problems, identifying a lesion, and they will be the best persons to tell how important it is for the fact that not to be complacent. But at the same time, they will not put so much of a hype into it that they will dispel the fear. So both ways, it is basically a balancing act that the optometrist will have to do, that yes, now you have to see an ophthalmologist, or no, this has been there for a long time, so just wait. It is not a Mucor. Things like that. And whenever they are in doubt, they always will go to an ophthalmologist of their choice and make sure that everything is all right. They are not TRP boosters. They are not going to bring up facts which are not there. They will have to place the facts properly to the patient, so that the importance of the problem can be highlighted and at the same time dispel the fears. A very good history is something that we all need to know. COVID illamiye Mucor varuma is some question that we may actually want to know. Yes, it can come because Mucor is there in the nose. Yeah. But because of the loss of innate immunity, the Mucor can go. Mucor has been coming to people with diabetes and with other immunocompromised for so many years. On the title, COVID irundirukliye. So Mucor can come. It can come to anybody. It does not require a COVID infection before mucormycosis comes. So our history of too much amount of gargling or really hot steaming is all necessary, because if the innate immunity goes down, then mucormycosis can come even to a non-COVID patient. Fortunately, mucormycosis is coming after 3 weeks or so. So, on the title, if it had come during the same time, then again there would have been a problem. And idukaprom, after this, there is going to be a psychiatry wave. All people headed by doctors. Anglana first psychiatric evaluation once all this lockdown comes out, because we are so much down mentally and physically and emotionally down, because we need to have some way of venting our emotions, because it is seeing day in and day out patients like this is going to be difficult for any doctor. So we all of us require a holistic approach, and at the same time have empathy for the patients who have gone through this disease, and try and help them as much as possible, both monetarily and psychologically. And do not forget one thing: COVID is going to be there for a pretty long time. May not be as bad as it is now, but at all times, we will require masks and sanitizers. Without this, we are not going to be safe. And double masking is another thing that all of us need to do. Don't come out and say that victory, we have won the war. No, it's not going to be as simple as that. All of us have to be equally responsible and help all the people around us to overcome this, because until the point that everyone is going to be vaccinated, and probably this vaccine, the COVID, may be put along with the rest of the flu vaccines and given probably at some point of time. So The take-home message is basically, it's an opportunistic infection. There is a lot to play. The innate immunity, the good mucosa in the mouth and the nose has to play. At that time, there was a lot of hype. Zinc tablets potungo, iron potungo, vitamin C potungo, all this, even high doses of ferritin, high zinc, they're all going to have oxidative stress, and an iron overload is known to cause a problem. The masks that we wear need to be dry and need to be fresh. Same mask day in and day out for a couple of days is not going to help, because they are going to be wet, they are going to be moist. So then moisture is somewhere where the fungus will thrive. Enga moisture irukumo, anga thriving. And now monsoons vandadna, this is going to be even more of a problem. So we need to be careful. Early treatment and control of comorbidities is necessary. Diabetes control, prevent high dose of steroids. Steroids avasyamana katham kudukanam. Mechanical ventilation only if it is required to take it. Otherwise, even that friction of oxygen also will reduce the mucosa, strength of the mucosa. All of this needs to be done properly. Good face hygiene, good oral hygiene, good glycemic control. All of this will go a long way in trying to help us and trying to overcome this menace. With that, I thank you for a patient listening. I'll take questions now.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Sam, you can now take the questions from the chat box.
Will someone speak out the questions?
Yeah. Sam, are you there? Okay, I think before Sam comes in, I'm not sure if he's
Excuse me, I have one question.
Yes, please.
Dr. This is Sriram Shanmugaraman, a new entry.
Cholunga, sir.
Okay, I am introduced by late school optometrist Krishna Kumar recently from yesterday to OATN. I am 63 years old, about 45 years of experience in optometrists. I now retired, almost retired. Namaskar. No, I will tell Namaskar. Excellent topic. You are taking the right time. And even ophthalmologists, I mean, the senior ophthalmologists in AIOS also could not do it. You have done it today very well. I appreciate you.
Yeah, my teachers, sir.
No. Secondly, best being an optometrist, and I just really want to know how to interact with an ophthalmologist to do all these things, because we are not able to get acquainted with the, in general, there's optometrist, and the gap between optometrist and the ophthalmologist going on still now, whatever may be the reason. Can you bridge the gap at least to help somebody in Bombay, anybody ask, or from Chennai, in case you wanted to have some support? Is it possible through telemedicine?
Oh yes, and I'm quite sure,
Doctor, before you answer him, I just thought of introducing him to you.
Yes.
He is son of Dr. N.S. Nadarajan, a very senior ophthalmologist, a former medical superintendent,
yes,
and also a brother of Dr. Nadarajan, who's practicing now in Mumbai.
Okay.
So I don't need to answer this question, sir.
No.
Nadarajan sir himself is a living example. He's having the school of optometry, and he has bridged the gap.
Only my request, as I'm just talking on behalf of other optometrists in India.
Yes, sir. Very true, but it is both ways. Ophthalmic practice requires a good optometrist support.
Yes, very nice. At least some coordination should be there now, right? Very well.
It is there. It is there.
Very good.
There in most of the places, most of the hospitals have got wonderful optometrists.
Secondly, urban areas, no issues. How about the rural areas?
Rural areas, optometrists can go. There can be other local, because an optometrist who is, I'm talking like places like second tier cities.
Yeah, to second and third tier. Second and third tier.
Second and third tier. It is always better to have a program where a local person is trained into, we can relax rules to some extent, and either take them through the course of optometry or take them through allied courses like optometry technicians and things like that. Give them the correct amount of knowledge that will help to pick up eye problems and diseases much early on. And now with the telemedicine all there, it is going to be very easy for them to throw up the images and things like that to higher centers and have a very good consultation with them.
Okay, I recently started my teleoptometry 15 days ago.
Yes.
And not for any competent level. I wanted to reach at least the last person in India. That's the program they started.
That's very nice that you have.
It's very big, but unless we all join together, we cannot do it.
True.
So I think KK is really helpful, and we will all coordinate as a team after the meeting also. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining with us. Yes, thank you.
Good evening, madam.
Yes, Sam, please go ahead.
Okay, very good evening, sir. Sir, we have received 13, 14 questions from the participants. Nearly 18 questions from the participants. And I would likely to start from one of our participant asked to repeat the mechanism of spread slide, sir.
You want the slide?
Yeah. The participant want to repeat the mechanism of spread.
Yeah, basically, mucor is there in the nose and the mouth. That's where it all starts from. Nose and mouth, it will go through contiguous spread, go into the orbit when it breaches the lamina praparia. That is a very thin bone which basically separates the nose from the orbit. It is generally in the nasal part. The medial rectus is where it is more commonly seen. And if it is there and if it is not treated in good time, then it spreads into the brain. So basically from the nose, mouth into the orbit and then into the brain. That is the mode of spread. Have I answered?
Yes, sir. The next question is can post-COVID black fungus come in any other parts other than face?
It is a mucosal liking disease. It will come only in places where the mucosa is fleshy and lot of water content. It has to be moist. So it generally is not seen on the skin to start with. So people who are coming to us with patches in the hand, maybe other fungus, need not be any over here. These are called as intriginous areas. So wherever there is going to be sweat is something where we can see, but it is more likely to come into the orbit from the nose and the mouth.
Thank you, sir. The next question.
Sorry, Sam, can I just have a continuation to that question? Can you have
yes, please, madam.
Orbital involvement without the sinuses being involved? Have you seen such cases?
No. Unless it has been there in the eye and for some reason, some other injection has been given and that has introduced it. It does not come directly into the orbit without a nose or without the mouth being involved.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, this is Akita. Actually, I just wanted to know.
No, I can't hear you, madam. Somebody will have to.
Madam, you can speak a little louder.
Yeah, one of the patients actually had a fungal infection post-COVID 1 week later, and she had it in her genital. Is it possible?
It is possible, yes, because that's
yeah,
also
that
a
was,
mucus membrane. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the reason I asked, is it possible in any other part of the body?
It can, any mucosal area, the genital area is also a mucosal area. You can have it being introduced there, but then instead of an orbital, you will have a GI mucor, or you will have an abdominal mucor going to GI. Nowadays, there are a lot of GI mucors which are.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello. Yes, sir. And
Sir.
that is the reason why I asked it. If it occurs in any other part of the body other than face. Is the treatment protocol the same, or it was not getting okay with the Candid B, which my physician has prescribed for that patient? So do you suggest any other amphotericin B injections for that patient?
Amphotericin for systemic mucor is known, but specifically for this this disease is probably best answered by the treating physician, because this is again something like Google, because it's not my forte. So it's always best. We believe that we believe in the doctor who's treating. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. The next question is, how to differentiate the symptom of mucormycosis and non-mucormycosis when patients visit optometric clinic?
Mucormycosis is something which will always be black. It's always black because of the blood, which is clotted, and because of the necrotizing tissue around. Non-mucor fungus will not be as black. But what to differentiate between the various shades of gray and black is something that only a histopathology will do, or a good microbiologist with a KOH mount and things like that. Need not require a histopathology. KOH mount should be sufficient, or the various staining agents may be helpful. But we will not be able to differentiate it between mucor or other fungus if both appear black.
Thank you. Yeah. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. And the next question is, will mucormycosis affect only post-COVID patients, or will it affect other individuals also?
It has. We are seeing several non-COVID patients, because mucor is there in the nose. Mucor, something has not changed into mucor because of COVID. So COVID irundado illiyo, mucor can happen.
Okay. Sir, the next question is like, does it occur only in those who have been admitted in hospital to get oxygen support, or people in home quarantine with only on antipyretic and antibiotics prone to getting mucormycosis?
People are there who, when mucor can affect people even without diabetes because of the loss of innate immunity, if even such people can get, then people who have not been hospitalized, if they have been having COVID and only antibiotics, they can also get mucor. But the basic thing where we need to know is the self immunity. Namlor, the immunity, if it is good, immunity means I'm not meaning only physical. Exercise to have having a big chiseled body does not mean immunity. Immunity is basically looking at the mucosa in the nose and things like that. De-stress, have a good good food and nutritious food are things which will go a long way in trying to avoid loss of immunity in any kinds.
Okay, sir. Thank you. And there is a question like, does mucormycosis has anything to do with used masks? Can repeating the same mask can lead to mucormycosis?
It can, because the mask itself may be keeping the fungus there. Mask, whenever, even if we have kept it in covering the nose and the mouth for some time, the hot vapor which comes in is basically affecting the mask. It's basically making it moist. Any moisture in the mask or any moisture anywhere will help the fungus. In the wet places like Mumbai, even the walls will be moist with after 10-20 days of continuous rain. So after some time, angiyum or white covering is there. That's also basically fungus. So I'm not saying it is mucor, but it is fungus. So fungus will be there wherever it is moist. And one of the place where it would be is in the mask. So always use masks which are disposable. If you are using cloth mask, use double mask it. Or if you are able to have N95, then you please use it.
Okay, thank you, doctor. And is it mucormycosis is contagious, doctor?
No, not at all.
Oh, thank you, doctor. And elderly people who recover from COVID after hospital stay get into depression, are they still prone to mucormycosis anytime?
Sorry, I didn't understand. What?
Elderly people who recover from COVID after hospital stay get into depression, are they still prone to mucormycosis anytime?
They may not be prone to mucormycosis because of the depression, but yes, if they have been using and if they have been on steroids for a long time, as long as the steroids are there and as long as their insulin, the diabetes is not under control, everyone would be prone to a mucor or any other superadded infections.
Doctor?
Yeah.
I'm an example of post-COVID patient. Last month, I was COVID affected from April 3rd week to first week of May. And I had this problem of fluid, but it was not this issue of mucormycosis. But as a post-COVID patient, they asked me to say 1 month, one post-COVID patient. I'm post-COVID. So they said to be mostly in quarantine for 1 month after the post-COVID. So they can advise the patients to be, a little isolated for some time.
Yes.
Because I was having something, maybe my lids was dry because of using more of cell phone. Maybe my opened eyes more for the computer. I had a little mucus secretion, but unfortunately, it never gave any problem to me.
No, there's something called a slow COVID also. That is long COVID. People in the TV long COVID children. That is basically because of the recuperation of the patient is many more days than the normal viral infections.
Very good, very good. Thanks for your coordination. Thank you very much. God bless you, doctor.
Thank you.
And keep in touch.
Yes, I will. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. And we'll move on to the next question, sir. What is right way of taking vapor? How frequently can vapor and gargling can be done?
Gargling and vapor are very good not to try and destroy the COVID in the nose or on the throat, but it is in order to have a good breathing exercise and it is nothing special because of COVID days. However, we used to do gargling and steaming is something, the same thing we need to continue. In the COVID bayatla unu jasti temperature use pannona, it has its own problem.
Okay, doctor. And should we consider NSAIDs while taking history? Should we consider NSAIDs while taking history? Non-steroidal anti-inflammatory.
NSAIDs. NSAIDs don't reduce the immunity. It's only the steroids which will reduce the immunity. Innate immunity, of course, NSAIDs, if they are being taken too much, can have gastritis and other problems, GI bleeds and things like that, but not more than that. Previously, they used to say that those people are more prone to either. It's not so. If that's what you're trying to ask me.
Yes, doctor. And the next one, COVID patients who were treated with steroids and remdesivir, are they also vulnerable to mucor?
Yes, because steroids induced hyperglycemia will stay for a very long time. compared to the normal hyperglycemia because of insulin deficiency. So for a very long time, you have to have strict control of sugars. Sugars, if they are going to go haywire, then chances of COVID and chances of other infections are there.
Okay, doctor. So after how many days of COVID recovery or COVID positivity can we expect mucormycosis to develop? And what is the incubation period of for this condition, doctor?
No, here the problem is because we are not, the tissues are not good enough now because they cannot restrict mucor into the mouth and the throat, or mouth and the nose is what is helping the mucor spread very fast. We have seen mucor spread within hours, and we have seen mucors which spread within days. So, but anyways, it is much faster in a post-COVID patient than a normal immunocompromised patient. If the immunity is good, mucor will not be.
So,
Shankar, I'm just wondering whether they're asking how soon will the patient present with mucormycosis post-COVID?
It generally happens once the patient. Is that what you had asked?
Yeah, that no, not me. There was the question went like that.
Generally, the mucormycosis comes only once because the COVID vandana after 10 days, 14 days, the patient becomes negative unless there is a really some reason for the COVID not being able to treat. So generally, it is somewhere around the third to the fourth week that it happens, but does not mean that 3 months after COVID, you will not get a mucormycosis. No. Mucormycosis can come at any time whenever the immunity goes down. My basic take home is mucormycosis need not happen only to COVID patients. When it can happen to non-COVID patients also. So after COVID, patient has become all right, everything negative, continues to remain negative, the patient can still have mucormycosis for other reasons after many months. And it doesn't come generally when as a co-infection along with COVID.
Thank you.
Have I answered?
Yeah, I think so. I think that was the question that was there in the chat box. Okay. Thank you.
How to increase the immunity power of the body?
If I say yoga, then there may be other people who will not like it. But holistic approach is something that I would rather say works. Being stress-free and being fit, and at the same time having a good balanced diet is something that will bring up the immunity in all terms.
Yes, doctor. And the other question is, my husband was prescribed oral steroids, tablet Medrol 4 mg for COVID by our family physician. However, considering the risks involved, my husband decided to not take the medication. What is your opinion regarding this?
How is he now? If he has completely got all right and he's now RT-PCR negative and no symptoms and things, and it's been quite some time, then he's been very lucky. And it is not that somebody given oral steroids might have definitely required it. Yes, to prevent complications in the lungs and things like that, steroids are given. But now that he has got out of COVID, I don't think you should blame yourself of having been without the steroid weapons.
He is on the 9th day of infection, sir.
Still having COVID?
Yeah, yes, sir. He is on the 9th day of infection.
Then he better consult the physician who has given him and own up that he has.
But he is fine, sir. He is fine, but he is on the 9th day of infection.
But cholratla problem illa, sir.
Okay.
If I were him, then I will stress that I tell the doctor. The physician has to know, because there must be some parameters with which he would have said that you take the steroid. But now, because the steroid mucormycosis, if that is the reason for why the steroids has not been taken, then the physician should know, because then the physician may ask for certain parameters before he says that, okay,
okay, sir. Sir, will it spread through app? Will it spread through app?
No, it's not contagious. No.
Okay, sir. What, according to you, is correct amount of nutritional supplement to be taken every day?
The best physicians will also have a lot to say on this, different views. I'm not a very good nutritionist for to say that. No, it's better to talk to the nutritionist, because every proteins, every carbohydrates, every minerals, it's best left to the concerned specialist.
Yes, sir. The next one is like how much it is related to wheezing and asthma patients. What will be the percentage of mucormycosis in these cases?
Nothing. It's got nothing to do with wheezing, nothing to do with asthma. It is just a fungus which has been there in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Okay, Sam, so due to lack of time, I think we will stop with this one last question, which is post-COVID patients who got vaccinated, what is their risk for muco? Does it change?
It does not change at all. Okay. Mucormycosis, you have to have a good immunity. That's the only thing which will say.
Okay, sir.
Vaccination
okay, thank you so much, sir.
Vaccination will only improve the chances of fighting COVID, will not unfortunately change the mucor situation.
Okay. Thanks, sir. Thanks for sort of deconstructing the whole complex topic and for accepting our request in a very, very short notice. So thank you very much.
My pleasure, sir. My pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. And I'm now going to hand it over to our Vice President, Mr. Shanmugh Kumar, sir. Shanmugh Kumar, sir, neenga vote of thanks kudukalam. Sir, unmute pannikonga, Shanmugh Kumar, sir.
Good evening, everybody, and good evening, sir. Mucormycosis past 2 months pathina ella news channels, newspapers idella pathina highlight ana varakudiya or news. So it gives more fear to all people. So 50% of people dead and lot of people lost their eyes due to black fungus. Nariya news paakrom. So இதை பத்தின ப்ராப்பரான அவேர்னஸ் வந்து ஈவன் ஆப்டோமெட்ரிஸ்ட் நிறைய பேருக்குமே இது தெரியல. ஸோ இது எப்படி ஸ்ப்ரெட் ஆகுது, இது எப்படி இருக்கும், என்னென்ன சைன்ஸ், என்னென்ன சிம்டம்ஸ். ஸோ இதோட ஆப்டோமெட்ரிஸ்டோட மெயினா எங்களோட ரோல் என்ன இந்த இதுல கண்டுபிடிக்கிறதுல, இதுல இதோட அவேர்னஸ் ஆப்டோமெட்ரிஸ்டே நிறைய பேர்கிட்ட இல்லை. பட் திஸ் செக்ஷன் இஸ் வெரி வெரி எக்ஸலன்ட், வெரி வெரி யூஸ்ஃபுல் ஃபார் ஆல் ஆப்டோமெட்ரிஸ்ட் அண்ட் இண்டிவிஜுவல் ப்ராக்டிஷனர்ஸ். ஸோ மியூகோமைகோசிஸ் பற்றி நிறைய தெரிஞ்சுக்கிட்டோம். ஸோ இந்த அருமையான செக்ஷன் கொடுத்துருக்கிறதுக்காக உங்களுக்கு எங்களோட OATN சார்பாக மனமார்ந்த நன்றிகள். ஸோ உங்களோட பிஸி ஷெட்யூலில் ஸோ எங்களுக்காக இந்த டைம் ஒதுக்கி இவ்வளோ அருமையான செக்ஷன் கொடுக்கறதுக்காக OATN சார்பாக மீண்டும் ஒரு முறை எங்களோட மனமார்ந்த நன்றிகளை தெரிவிச்சுக்கிறேன் சார். அஸ் வெல் அஸ் இன்னைக்கு பார்ட்டிசிபேஷன்ஸ் ஆல் அட்டெண்டீஸ் நியர்லி 100. ஸோ வி ஆர் எக்ஸ்பெக்டிங் மோர் தென் 100. as well as யூடியூப்லேயே நான் லைவ் பண்ணுறதுக்கு பிளான் பண்ணியிருந்தோம். அன்ஃபார்ச்சுனேட்லி தட் இஸ் குட் இப்போ முடியலை. பட் வி ரெக்கார்ட் இட் அண்ட் போஸ்ட் இன் த யூடியூப் ஆல்சோ. ஸோ ஆல் அட்டெண்டன்ஸ்க்கு எங்களோட OATN சார்பாக மனமார்ந்த நன்றிகள். ஸோ எஸ்பெஷலி ஐடிஸ் ப்ரோக்ராம் மூலமாக OATNs வந்து சிறப்பான நிறைய டாபிக்ஸில் ஆன்லைன் செமினார்ஸ் கண்டக்ட் பண்ணியிருக்கோம். மீண்டும் ஒரு குட் டாபிக்கோட உங்களை எல்லாரையும் அடுத்த நெக்ஸ்ட் ஆன்லைன் செமினாரில் சந்திக்கிறோம். நன்றி, வணக்கம்.
Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Shanmugh Kumar, sir. Thank you, sir. And good luck with your Sunday vaccine drive venture. And we are so grateful to be associated with a person like you. who has been constantly supporting our optometric community. So once again, our wishes to you on all your future endeavors, and we look forward to your continued support. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, doctor. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.